are... I'm about to say you're listening to. You're watching Georgette After Dark, my intimate interview series, and I am here with singer, songwriter, entrepreneur, rapper. You just have so many hyphen in space. I'm happy that you're here.
I appreciate you for having me.
So you grew up in Chicago.
I did.
And now you're in LA. What was life growing up in Chicago and then you pursuing singing and all that jazz?
It was very different growing up in Chicago, you know. Well, you know what Chicago is.
Yeah.
A lot of death everywhere.
I can't with your eyes.
Violence everywhere. But you know, I made it out.
Yeah. Where did your singing influence come from, though? When did you start singing?
I started singing when I was in high school.
In high school? Any church background or anything like that?
In church, too.
Okay.
So it was a high school and church, but it was more so for extracurricular activities. I didn't necessarily associate or identify with the passion at the time.
Right. So what led you to continue going down the path of singing? Or even just music in general?
I don't know. It was always kind of there. It was always expressive outlet for me, essentially.
Yeah. Now, beyond just singing, like there's rapping there, there's entrepreneurial efforts in there as well. So tell me what happened from high school when you decided that you wanted to express yourself through music. It's like, so what happened after that? Did you go to college? Did you continue singing? Did you start doing your own thing?
So it actually didn't even happen like that. So what happened was I went to college.
Yep.
I got my degree in economics.
Okay.
Then I went to UCLA and furthered my studies in financial analysis and management. And so the thing about
opposite of singing.
Essentially, the complete opposite of singing. But music was always, it was a passion of mine. But I come from a family of people in two things. Like they're either hustlers or they're in the church.
Okay.
I'm from Chicago, so
Yep.
like you're either hustling in the church because church is a hustle in itself.
Right.
I hate to say it, but church is a hustle.
Yeah.
You have people who hustle in the church and people who hustle outside of the church. Mm-hmm. And so coming from that background, it was all about, essentially, it was more so about economic opportunity and getting to the bag, more so than pursuing your passion or what you feel that God has put on your life. Because I feel like a lot of people get caught up in that, or they can't make the distinction between what their family pours into them and what their true calling is in life.
Right.
Because
how were you able to separate? If these are like the two people or like the two backgrounds that family members came from or what you were used to seeing?
that's why I moved to LA, because
Yeah.
I think about it is that sometimes in life you have to cut ties with your past. And sometimes even just relocating allows you to take out all of those voices that you have in your head.
Why LA though?
Because that's the mecca of music right now.
Well, I get that.
People don't even do music in New York no more. Everybody's in LA.
Yeah, do you think Atlanta also has a home with music too?
Atlanta definitely has a home with music.
But you were like, fuck that, I'm going to
It's
LA.
like the new, it's like the new LA.
Yeah.
Essentially. To a degree.
Right, because I feel like a lot of things are happening.
But it's not. It's like Atlanta is great for specific types of music.
Yeah.
LA is great for any kind of genre you want to do.
Right. Now you have your company, Run the Play Entertainment?
Yes, Run the Play Entertainment.
So what do you do? Is it management? Is it the company that represents you?
Also, Run the Play Entertainment is a record label that essentially develops artists. It's also a writing camp for the people who actually write and pick songs.
Yeah.
And so that came out of my entrepreneurial spirit, because when I came out here, I started a marketing firm. And so, because I always knew the essential, everybody, there's always someone who precedes you, who kind of lays the foundation for where you want to go. And so, growing up, I saw Diddy and Master P and Jay-Z, and there's one particular aspect that they all had mastered, and that was the art of marketing. And the thing about it is that marketing has very much changed since that time. It's no longer grassroots. So Diddy was really good at grassroots marketing, promos, clubs, selling himself wherever he went. And now in the age of digital, things have shifted. Instead of, you don't really have to be grassroots, you just need a phone. And you can broadcast your message to the world. And so I started a marketing company that primarily specialized in direct response, which is basically getting consumers to convert immediately. And so from that, I decided to kind of merge my background with my other background in music.
Did your entrepreneurial efforts, were you inspired by your father? Because I know you said like that your father was into that, or kind of the catalyst for you getting into being
So
an
I was
artist?
inspired by my father. One of the reasons I was inspired by my father is because I never saw my father work for a man in his life. Like when I tell you I never saw my father actually answer to no man, I never saw my father answer to a man because my father's a real estate investor. And so that kind of ownership mentality
Did something to you.
did something to me, especially because when I came out of college, like sometimes when you're in college, you know, you're programmed to like want to climb a corporate ladder,
Yep.
to kind of want to do these systematic things, and it was kind of counter to everything that I grew up watching. It's like, so I got to answer to who? He could tell me I'm fired.
Yep.
He could tell me I can't eat no more. No, like it didn't work for me. And the thing about it is like I distinctly remember having one conversation with my father, and he said why he decided to be an entrepreneur. He said I was in my 20s, and I was working as a waiter one day, and the waiter came up. I made a silly mistake. The waiter came up to me, and he was like, "You fired," and he was like, you know, I was so humiliated in front of the people, and he was like, I didn't have any money, and he was like, at that moment in time, I was like, I will never give anybody the power to take food out of my mouth. And so as an entrepreneur, it's not necessarily about, you know, me wanting to do all these ventures. It's more like, I'm never going to give no man the opportunity to take food out of my mouth.
Yeah, that's heavy. I mean, so you're dabbling in the marketing, and so I feel like on the music standpoint, like now you don't really have to pay for it, right? Like you kind of already know the ins and outs. Like, so how do you mix your entrepreneurial efforts with the music that you're doing, and just, you know, putting your stuff out there?
So how do I mix the efforts? I mix the efforts. I mean, the thing about it is that artistry is a business at the same time, and so all media, all content needs to be accelerated. And so, essentially.
Yeah.
And so, like, you can sit on content, you could be an artist all day, but if you don't have the ability to accelerate content, which is why I said I spend my life modeling and watching people like Diddy and Master P who understood how to accelerate content, essentially. That's what they did. They accelerated content to the masses. They had strategic strategies in order to get content to the masses before there was social media, before there was this viral effect that made it happen overnight, in which you had to do grassroots, in which you had to tour for 2-3 years. Like Temptation, you had to tour 5-7 years before everybody knew your name. Now everybody can know your name in a matter of hours.
Yeah, right. Are you offering this type of knowledge for the artists on your record label? Like, what do you teach them? What are some of the values that you teach them? Or for the people that you're working with?
The thing about so I do offer particular advice on branding and marketing, but I feel I offer more so advice on spirituality, because the music industry, as in every kind of creative aspect, they have their dark places, and so like I feel like I have a lot of different distinct callings.
Yeah.
And when it comes to, you know, having particular conversations with individuals I consult under my label, it's more so in regards to how to maintain a truer sense of yourself as you navigate the industry. Because at the same time, what people don't understand about being an artist and being in entertainment is that it's a kind of a dangerous place.
Yeah.
Because you grow up in front of the camera. So like the mistakes that are common mistakes for regular individuals are huge mistakes for you.
Yeah.
They're not just regular mistakes. Like for me, if I not growing up in front of the camera, like I made a ton of mistakes in my life.
Right.
But when
It's not
you're,
magnified.
but when you're in the and then also that effect has on you, because like at the same time when you're young, your surroundings have a lot of influences on who you are and how you perceive yourself. And so that takes a great toll on artists, and that's why you see a lot of artists who with drug problems or, you know, suicide problems. Or even Wale talked about mental health.
I know he wasn't the first or last, but no,
there's reasons for that.
Right, because I was
There's
going to ask
reasons for
you,
that.
have you seen what? I mean, like, if there's an example that you can speak on, have you seen people come and go or get sucked in by some of the dark spaces in the music industry?
I have all the time.
Have you gotten caught up, or you kind of just recognized it early?
No, I've always recognized it. I wouldn't necessarily say I've been caught up, but I've had my dark moments. We all have, and so for me to be disingenuous and be like, oh no, I had so much foresight. I navigated the shit. I swerved all the bullshit.
Right. Yeah. No. You.
Sometimes you got to go through it to understand it.
Yeah.
And that's just life.
How would you describe yourself musically?
What do you mean?
Just, I mean, you know how when I think about artists, like one of my favorite artists I listen to is Rihanna. But she's my muse for other reasons. But when I think about her, like you think bold, you think unapologetic, you think, so, but you also know she kind of goes in and out.
But you're thinking brand. So musically.
Yeah.
As a brand.
But even when you hear her music, it's reggae, it's pop. Like she can go in and out of different genres. Like how would you, like if no one's ever heard your single before?
Musically, I would describe myself as an artist, and so like.
That sounds very ambiguous.
It's not necessarily ambiguous because
Yeah.
it's a craft in and of itself.
Okay,
and
that's
it's
fair.
And it's something that people don't necessarily, at least these days, really put the same type of effort in they used to. Even when it comes to any type of art, though. And so the thing about it as an artist, to me, an artist is someone who's committed to perfecting their craft for their lifetime. That is an artist.
Yeah.
So I make very distinct distinguishes between somebody who's an artist and someone who's an entertainer. And so like for me, it's artist like a continual will to perfect your craft. That is an artist.
So your latest single, you Throw It Back. Talk to me about Throw It Back. What are you talking about in Throw It Back? Like literally like I should throw it back, like ass out, face down?
Ass
oh,
out.
Okay, my bad. I was just playing,
Ass
but you
out,
being
face
serious.
down, all that. I mean, it's a fun kind of provocative, like R&B kind of reggae single.
Okay.
You know,
Any genre off
dancehall.
limits?
No genres off limits.
Okay.
You know, because like I'm a writer, so like I express myself in the moment and authentic in the moment.
Yep.
And so like I'm not a genre specific artist because I write for myself.
Yep. Advice for young entrepreneurs and music artists?
To always for continued pursuit of knowledge.
Okay, Aristotle. I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, so this is time for my After Dark segment where we get a little bit more personal.
Okay.
Random. Would you listen to your music during sex?
Would I listen to my music during sex?
And if so, what song?
I definitely would listen to my music during sex.
Have you?
I haven't.
Okay.
had that opportunity to sex yet. If I was to listen to music during sex, it would probably be the song Pussy Power. But I haven't yet.
Pussy Power.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Face.
What do you listen to during sex?
I don't. But we ain't talking about me. This ain't. We ain't switching that. No. Face. We ain't doing this.
We don't listen to nothing during sex.
No, I don't. No, I don't. I don't really know how to answer this question on camera, but I don't. I'm gonna leave it at that.
We gotta do something about that.
Do we? You want to create a playlist for me?
The best playlist.
Okay, create a playlist for me.
Playlist.
Wait, I didn't get to ask you. Wait, so where did you get the name Face from? Why Face as your artist name?
Face is kind of something I came up with myself.
Okay.
Thing about it is because like I said, I study people, so it's like Babyface. My tonation is kind of smooth like Babyface's, but I'm also very much so a pure writer. Like I write records.
Right.
And so that if I was to say anything kind of influenced me, it would be the name Babyface, and his kind of run.
So, okay, I like that. Face. Okay. Well, Face, thank you so much.
I appreciate you.
Such a pleasure. I can't wait to hear your debut album dropping soon. Pew, 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 pew. I'm so hot in this jacket. Y'all, I want to unzip this so bad. I do.